Parshas Shoftim, after Shlishi, Parak Yud Ches, Pasuk Gimel, the Torah says, teaches us about another one of the presents that we're supposed to give to Kohanim. The Zroya is the forearm of the animal. L'chayim is the cheek with the tongue, and the keva. What's the keva? The keva is that a kosher animal that chews its cud has four stomachs. The fourth stomach is the one that's the most similar to a person. That one is like a skin. It's just like a sack, and that keva is supposed to go to the kohen. The Gemara in Chulin talks about if maybe the kohanim were allowed to use the fats on the outside, if it's a problem with chelav or not. But that's the keva. What's the usage of this keva? And a very interesting historical concept that might be related to this keva. Traditionally, cheese was made in monasteries. All the years in Europe, it was always made by the monks, the nuns. It was made in monasteries. Not by private people, not by private artisans and craftsmen. It was made by the priests, the nuns, and the monks. Why is that? So I looked around, and the couple of reasons that were given are a little difficult to understand. One of the reasons that were given is that since the monks always had animals, they always had cows and goats, so it was understood that it makes sense that they should make cheese. The problem is they weren't the only ones with the cows and the goats. So why were the monks the ones that made the cheese? Another reason that I saw was that the tradition of the monks, the tradition of these monks was that they should work hard with their hands and they should only eat from their own work. So therefore they made cheese. So why didn't they do something else? Why cheese? I would like to suggest that the reason for this tradition was, it's a tradition that started by us. It started by the Yidden. And it started with this matana that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the Kohanim. He gave the Kohanim the keva, and keva is the way cheese is made. And naturally, since the Kohanim were the ones that had the keva, they became the cheesemakers of Klal Yisrael. And once that became the tradition, that the priests are the cheesemakers, that tradition somehow overflowed to other cultures. By the Christians, it's simple. By the Christians, it's simple because they started off as Yidden, and even by other cultures, maybe they borrowed this concept. How is cheese made? Most of us know that cheese that milk comes in two parts. That means that when it comes out of the cow, it has the top is the fat and the bottom is the milk. That fat on top, so sometimes they skim it all off and leave us only the milk, which will be skim milk. Sometimes they skim off half, that's called full milk. Skim off whatever it is, exactly how much. It's when the milk comes out of a cow, it only has like 4% milk, 4% fat. So they'll take off, let's say only 1%, and that'll be full milk, that's the red milk. They'll take off half of it, and they'll call that the blue milk, the middle milk, and they'll take it all off, and it'll be called skim milk. That fat is what we make butter with, and has nothing to do with cheese. Just when they make cheese, sometimes they leave a certain amount of fat in the milk for taste. But in the making of milk has nothing to do with the difference, that obvious difference that comes right when the milk comes out. Cheese happens after that. You have just the milk. After let's say you took off the fat or you left the fat, there's the milk itself. Now, if you put in something called rennet, R-E-N-N-E-T, a magical transformation happens. Rennet's some kind of an enzyme, which is only found in a keva of a cow, or at least traditionally it was only found that way. You stick it into the milk, and the milk starts to curdle up. And you get inside the milk, you get these globs like cottage cheese. If you look at a cottage cheese container, it says small curds. That's what it's talking about. It's called those curds. And then there's the rest, all the liquid, that's called whey, W-H-E-Y, whey. So you have the curds, so you take out the curds, that's what would be your cheese. You could either serve it that way, that would be like a cottage cheese or a farmer cheese, or you could pack it together and let it sit, and it'll become a hard cheese. If you let it sit for a long time, it'll be Parmesan cheese, etc. That's the curds. And the whey is something that Chazal call Nesyoivi de Chalba. It's something that they used to use also. It's full of protein. They used to use it in the times of Chazal. Today we use it in a lot of different productions. That's the whey. But an important component to making cheese comes from the keva. Who had the keva? The Kohanim. So naturally, the cheesemakers became the priests, the Kohanim and Klal Yisrael. So very possibly the way it happened that the priests in other cultures also became were also the cheesemakers, it came from Klal Yisrael, because by Klal Yisrael naturally we were the cheesemakers. There's another Gemara. There's Gemara in Avodah Zarah that discusses maybe the Isser of Gvinas Akum comes from, because Mamidim is the lashon of this thing of splitting the curds and the whey, Bechelev Avodah Zarah, Egle Avodah Zarah, that they would split it with the calves of Avodah Zarah. Why Avodah Zarah? What's that? And that's why all Gvinas Akum are also, because that was the way they used to do it. Mamidim Bechelev Bekevas Egle Avodah Zarah. Why would that be? But with this, it's a little bit understood. Since the priests are the ones that do it, so the priests are the ones that have their karbonis, or whatever they call it. They're the ones that would have access to all these sacrifices, and they would naturally use Egle Avodah Zarah. Of course, it could be the other way around. That there's some sort of a natural, inherent reason for Kohanim to be cheesemakers, and that natural, inherent thing, the Goyim didn't get it. They didn't inherit that tradition from us. There's just some sort of a natural. Some sort of a natural reason that priests should be cheesemakers, and Hashem was providing for Kohanim the keva that they should be able to do their job. That could also be, but I think it's more mustaba to say that the Kohanim, by the priests by Klal Yisrael, was zoich in the keva, like we know from Pinchas. They were zoich in the keva, and that gave them the job as the cheesemakers, and that tradition moved on to other cultures also. It would be interesting that it happens to be that this kind of a thing like cheese making is the right kind of job for a priest, for a kohen, by Klal Yisrael, because by Klal Yisrael the kohen doesn't have properties, so he can't make himself wheat. He can't produce wheat or other things. He has to be in the industry that's processing food. He can't be in an industry that's creating food, like planting wheat, etc. He has to be in the processing industry, like this, where he takes the milk from somebody else and he processes it into cheese. And it would also be interesting that this is one of the Gemara. Rashi brings it down in the Chumash in this week's Parsha. It's a Gemara Chulin and Azrael L'Chayayin. That keva was something that one of the matanas that Pinchas was zeichen. Pinchas was zeichen in Israel L'Chayayin Vakeva when he did that act of kanois, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, "I'm going to give you a brisi shalom." Other industries, one only has to deal with one party. If you are a producer of a good, so you don't need a supplier. You're just a producer, so you only have to deal with one party, your customers. But if you're in a service industry where you're taking something from your supplier, like milk, and you're turning it into cheese by adding the rennet, etc., and then selling it, so you have not only your customers, but you have your suppliers too. That gives you a whole nother circle of people you have to deal with. So Pinchas, that started off this with the kanois, and it would seem that he would become a pariah. He would have less to do with other people. Because Baruch Hu gave him esprit shalom. He has to deal with more people. He has to deal with he's going to deal with his suppliers and his customers.